It's so awesome for you to take time out of your busy schedule to join us. I know while you may be cooped up at home with the family, the dogs, and everything else, I know your calendar's been full, and I really do appreciate you taking some time. Was able to catch a little interview from earlier today. Thank you for recognizing this webinar on a late 4 o'clock Friday. Yeah, a little wine, kicking back, some pizza. We're super excited to have you on. Always excited to have you as part of our team, our family here at GlobalPro. You've been such an incredible participant of other events that we've done in the past. Always had a good amount of questions. Super excited. I mean, they're already rolling in. We're up to about 9 or so right now, and we're going to get to those questions. A little housekeeping, if you will, UD. We're to go through a little brief introduction, talk a little bit about what's going on with you, how's it impacting you. Because while most people out there know you as a 3-time world champion basketball player, an absolute force to be reckoned with on the court, off the court, you're doing a lot of amazing things in the community, and I've been tracking those things, and many people have. Whether it's the multifamily projects coming up with your franchises that you have, with all the people that you employ, and especially with your impactful message that you had on the Players Tribune. Awesome. Always looked at as a pillar in our community. So let's jump into it. For those that are tuning in that don't know who I am, Dan Odess, president of GlobalPro. GlobalPro is an insurance services business. We advocate for policyholders. Obviously, we're very busy at this time. Pandemic took hold of our economy, took hold of our way of life, our society. It made people do a lot of smart things, made a lot of people do a lot of dumb things. But the one thing is that our community is going to grow stronger, is going to come out of this on top. We want to stay positive about this. At GlobalPro, over a decade of dealing with these situations, we have seen our communities at their worst and always have been a part of the recovery efforts. And I know UD has always been on the front lines. It's a quick Google search, and you can find many of the things that you've done over the years. And continue to do through some of your charity efforts and whatnot. So again, UD, thank you for joining us. And I want to throw it off to you. And what's it been like? What's your daily routine, man? What are you and the family doing there at the house?
Oh man, thank you guys for having me. You, Dan, and GlobalPro. Like you said, we've done a couple things together, so it's real natural. It's like family. So for me. If anybody knows me, like I go crazy without structure. Like I gotta have structure. I have to have consistency. I can't stand inconsistency. So the hardest part for me was just adjusting to having no structure. Kind of going to sleep whenever, waking up whenever, fiddling through the night. For me, I like to have a routine. So the first thing we had to do was we had to implement a routine in the house. I work out every morning at 11. The kids are up at 8:30 for school, which I'm terrible at homeschooling. That's one thing I realized, that I probably need to go the opposite direction when they get to homeschooling. I just need to go ahead to the court outside and get my shots up.
As long as they get a structure in place, you're good, though.
yeah. As long as they get a structure in place, because you got to understand, like, I'm used to being my kid's hero. They believe I can do anything and everything. I'm never bad at anything. So when they realized I wasn't really as good as homeschool as they thought I was, they were looking at me like, Dad, so you're not the superhero that we thought you were. So it was kind of humbling. That was a humbling experience for me. But we got structure going. The kids are in homeschooling. I'm out working out around 11. Then after that, we get together. We work out together. My kids get their shots up. The wife makes sure they go through the homeschool and everything. And around 3 or 4 is when I start taking calls. Business and different things like that. So that's pretty much my day, and that's how we got it going. Obviously, with the pandemic and everything that's going on, man. Reaching out to my teammates, all the guys, checking on everybody, making sure, they're doing fine, them and their families, staying connected with my family as well. But I've been telling everybody through this pandemic, and even, people that I don't know, people just online, or people that, have been sending me DMs or anything like that. Find a way to come out this pandemic better. Whatever you're doing, if you're a basketball player and you can't play basketball, then find a way to devote your time to reading, or find a way to devote your time to understanding more about finances. Find a way to come out of this pandemic better is what I've been telling everybody. You know, something that you're weak at, something that you're not really comfortable with, find a way to come out of this better. Since you have the time and you're sitting around and you're not really doing much. Idle time can be the devil's playground if you use it the wrong way. So with all this time that you have, find a way to come out this better.
I might quote you on that at some point, or just at least steal that. The devil in details there. I appreciate that, and you know, and I'd like to talk, you know, talk a little bit about that structure and what it's meant to you and how you've recreated the UD brand. I mean, you know, as you've grown up in professional basketball from your European days to coming back to the United States to what you've become and what you mean to the Heat organization. And now as, you know, player coach, I'm sure a lot of the young guys are looking up at you. You've always been that like I mentioned before, that force in the court, and take us through that. You know, how are you using that now today to help, let's see, your kids at home or the younger guys coming into the league?
Man, I think for me, I've been fortunate enough to be relatable to people on all aspects and all walks of life. And that's been a positive thing for me. That's really been my ace in the hole. You know what I mean? My chip that I can always play is being relatable to people. You know, I've walked every walk of life. I've been, you know, somebody looking around saying, hey, I want to be like that person one day. Or I've been that person that throw myself a pity party and say, well, why he have this and why can't I have that? You know, I've been the chubby kid that, you know, wasn't able to play basketball and jump as high. Then I lost weight. Then I was the athletic guy. Then I was the starter on the NBA team. Then I've been a reserve. Then I've been a guy that hasn't played as much. So in every walk of life, man, I've learned to master whatever role I've been given or whatever position I've been put in. And it hasn't always been easy. You know, there's been some dark nights on certain situations. You know, going to Europe was one of the toughest things I've ever had to encounter in my life after the college career that I've had. You know, I literally sat up all night. And, you know, we were talking earlier, cracking jokes about, you know, giving up the Hennessy. I literally sat up all night and ran through a bottle of Hennessy and was like, how the hell did I end up in Europe playing basketball? Like, I'm supposed to be in the NBA. And I gave myself one night to be sad, one night to throw a pity party. And I think that was the beginning of myself implementing structure in my life. Because that point on, I knew that I had to have structure because I was in Europe. I was all alone. I was by myself. There was nobody pushing me. I had to be self-motivated. And from that point on is when I started implementing structure. I stayed on American time. I didn't sleep on European time. I didn't go to sleep. So we're talking about, I think, 12 hours difference. So I was up during the day. I was up at night. And I would take naps during the day.
Yeah.
Weird structure, but it was my structure and it worked for me.
As long as you overcome the adversity, you dealt with the transition. And I mean, I guess that's what our community is going through right now is that, you know, going through a transition. I mean, we're in such a different normal right now. And whatever normal was certainly won't be what it is. I mean, you had a really strong message recently in the Players Tribune. I had an opportunity to read it a couple times. There was so many important little tidbits and quotes and things there. And I won't do a disservice by actually trying to quote you, but
stay your ass home.
Yeah,
That's the one you were looking for.
I like your no nonsense, no bullshit talk, and direct, you know, talk right at the issue. And I think a lot of times people are trying to be politicians here, and you know, that's never been my strong suit either. So I get in trouble with that all the time. But you know, like talking about it, I mean, you know, when those spring breakers were saying those things, and now looking back at how many people got infected and what that's done to our community, you know, what are your thoughts now? Looking back at your message then and where we're at today and where you've seen the community, where do you see the highs and lows?
I mean, I'm thankful for the platform that the Players Tribune gave me. So I want to shout out the Players Tribune for giving me a platform. And the only thing I ask people is when they ask me to do things like that, you know, you give me a platform, but you let me be as honest and open and raw and real as possible. And after that, you can tweak it how you need to tweak it, but it's going to come out the way it's going to come out. And the Players Tribune gave me that platform. And I was very upfront and honest about what I was seeing and what I was feeling. And for me, you know, being from Miami and going all the way to Europe, like we spoke about earlier, and coming back to Miami and having the opportunity to win 3 championships and to still be here, it's an opportunity to also have a voice for the people. You know what I'm saying? A voice for the people on the other side of the bridge, the voice for the people who grew up where I grew up and have those same circumstances that I grew up in. See, they don't have a voice. They're not on the news. You know, the other people on the news having fun, spending money and cracking jokes, while the other people on the bridge really the ones that are suffering. They're not on the news. So as I'm talking to my friends and my family, and I'm listening to what they're going through and what they're seeing, what they're dealing with, I got a buddy who owns a charter school, the Brent Wright Leadership Academy, right in Liberty City, and he's telling me, sometimes he has kids that come to school that are suspended, but they come to school with urine in their clothes, whatever the situation is, just to get out of the house, just to be able to come somewhere and go somewhere. So when you talk about situations like that, that's the reality of certain people that people don't even know because their mind can't think that way. And also just transmitting a disease. Okay, you might not be affected, but you're taking it wherever you're going when you leave there. So you're not understanding how you're affecting other people. So, for me, I was a little frustrated, but I think that it was the right time and it was the right message, and I don't regret nothing I said either.
No, and I think it was on point. I think a lot of people shared, obviously, your sentiments at the time, and it obviously was a very confusing time for a lot of people, and I think unfortunately, in disaster situations, like I commented before, you sometimes see people at their worst, and I think that exemplifies that moment. And I share your sentiments. I read it a couple of times, not because preparing for this. I actually read it when it first hit. My loving wife actually immediately contributed to your charity at that point because your message about giving back and the food and everything else. And we've continued to contribute, and it kind of brings me to my next point is you have this charity, UDKids.org. Talk about the messaging there. What are you guys trying to accomplish? And where do you see the future of your charity and as you give back to the community?
I mean, my charity has from day one just been geared towards the youth. For me, people don't, I say this all the time. I had never been to South Beach until I got in the NBA. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what was on South Beach. I had never even crossed the bridge until I got into the NBA. I used to go to Harlow Beach. I never went to South Beach. So, small to a lot of people, but to me it's big because that's a lot of problem for a lot of situations that a lot of these inner city kids face, is that they're not bad kids. It's not that they don't want more out of life. It's that they just don't know that there's more to life because they don't see it. They haven't experienced it. They haven't been a part of it. They don't know it's a reality. So the Udonis Haslem Children's Foundation is geared towards showing these kids that there's another reality besides what you wake up to every day and what's outside your house. And we're going to give you the opportunity, and we're going to prepare you, and we're going to help you reach that reality if you want that. So we have a reading and writing program. We have grandparents that we partner with grandparents that raise grandkids, because there's a lot of these kids whose parents are drugs, incarcerated, and the grandparents are stuck with the responsibility of raising these kids. So we partner with a lot of grandparents that raise grandkids. We just recently, started to get into some low-income housing situations for a lot of these families and things that are going on. That's something we can touch on a little bit later. So, for me, these kids, and I know people say it, but, the next generation, the future is in the hands of the next generation. And I don't just say that as a cliche or just to speak it. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it because it's the reality and it's the truth, man. And we need to arm these people. We need to gear these kids up for what they need to be successful, man. There's some great kids in these inner cities, man, but they're just not given the opportunity to see what's out there for them to be great. I just want to give them the opportunity to see it. When you see it, you can achieve it, man. It's there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, and I think your messaging is powerful, and I'm gonna quote it. Today's youth will be the leaders of tomorrow. I think it's obviously a powerful message, especially someone like yourself who, I can imagine the amount of kids that look up to you as a role model. Not just your own kids, obviously, but I gotta imagine. As a kid,
not after homeschooling.
Yeah. Well, hey,
I lost that.
You got a hell of an athlete though, that family of yours, besides yourself though. So
I got a couple of them coming. They're coming for my throne, man. But as long as I can walk and chew bubble gum, they got a fight on their hands.
I got an opportunity to meet one of them, your son, and what a big dude! Absolutely a force, I'm sure, on the field. I'm sure they learned a thing or two from Dad over there. So, but that's awesome. Today's youth will be leaders of tomorrow. I love the messaging. I think it's consistent, obviously, with who you are, and I think it encapsulates who your personality. It certainly makes sense. And I think the UD that I've gotten to know is the businessman, the business-minded individual that is taking his on-court experience and applying it off-court. Take us through what are you working on now, and talk to us a little bit about your business.
I mean, and that's why, my message applies about today's youth being the leaders of tomorrow, because even if they don't believe it, I believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never believed I'd be a business owner. I never believed I'd be a business owner.
Yeah.
I never believed I'd be a 3-time champion. I never believed I would be the lead and rebound in an organization. Like, I never believed any of this stuff, man. I tell people this all the time. People always say that they have those stories where I was walking to buy this huge house and I looked at it one day and I said, that's going to be my house. And people have those stories, and no, that was not my story. I'm sorry. I didn't have that cliche of a story. No, I was just taking it one day at a time, every day, putting one foot in front of another, taking a step forward to try to get to my goal. That's what I was doing. So, for me, what I'm saying, if you don't believe it, I believe it. Today's youth are the leaders of tomorrow. I'm a business owner. Right now with everything that's going on, man, coming from a business owner perspective, I put that to the side because I have feelings, man. I have feelings for the people that I've employed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got into this to help people. So now with this pandemic and everything that's going on, everything has kind of been upside down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as putting aside the business and the politics, just being a real human being and a person, man, my heart goes out to all these employees, everybody who I employ and other people who have employed, what's going on, man. We've made it our mission to try to figure out ways to help our families and the people that we've employed, in any way, shape, form, or fashion that we can. Dwayne and I, partnered together on a lot of different things, and finding out different ways to help, the families.
And I'm business. And I'm getting to learn a lot about that. And I think for putting us together and alchemy, and we're certainly getting to know your business and trying to help you guys into recovery there. So I want to turn to a question that we just received from our audience. And if you haven't noticed, there's a little Q&A button. If you're not familiar with how Zoom works, search around your screen for the.
So that's what that is. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I had no clue.
I know I went to Florida State, but I'm just, it wasn't you effing it on. But
see, man, I was gonna cut you some slack for this interview, but see, if you want to get it started, we can get it started now.
I had to bring it up, all right? So because I figured it was going to happen at some point, so it's self-inflicted if I just say it myself. So
Burt Reynolds and Bobby Bowden, the best two things y'all got coming for y'all.
I was there.
Burt Reynolds and Bobby Bowden.
I was there in '99. What else did I say? '99. All right. I watched it happen. Freshman year, it was fantastic. It was kind of all downhill about a year and a half later, but whatever. I saw '99. I was excited. Work done. Your work. It was fantastic. So, question from our audience. Obviously, our community needs a lot of things. You talked about helping. And the question for UD is, what can people do to be helpful today other than just giving money?
Oh, well, I mean, before you even give money, just protect yourself and be safe first and foremost yourself. Is how you can help everybody else. You know what I mean? Making sure that you're protected and that you're safe. You know what I mean? So protecting yourself first and foremost, however, quarantining yourself or your family or whatever you have to do first is helping other people. You know what I mean? And I think that's what people need to understand first is, a lot of things that, people aren't able to give money or be able to, do things financially like that. So if you can't give money or do things financially, protect yourself first, make sure you and your family are safe so it's not spread from you and your family to someone else. You know what I mean? Thirdly, I'm saying, I'm going to go out and figure out ways to deliver certain things to people's household. I haven't really got into it yet. Haven't worked out the logistics, man. But in my mind, man, I want to be able to go out and give out groceries or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I've done a lot of things from home, but I haven't been out there to be able to give things to people. So that's the next step for me. But, first and foremost, I would say to anybody who can't give money, protect yourself first and make sure you're not spreading it. That helps a lot. That helps just as much as money.
Yeah. No, I think you're looking at, I think your Players Tribune message was a good response to that, which is stay your ass home and take care of yourself first. We got a young audience listener, Christian Lugo, who has got a question for you, and he is asking the winning formula for being a successful entrepreneur. What is your winning formula, or how would you explain how you win as an entrepreneur?
Um, you gotta be a little crazy. Believe in yourself by all means, by any means necessary, and surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Those will be the three things that I would say have helped me the most. Being crazy, meaning driven crazy, not sleeping, losing sleep type of crazy, expecting everybody to have your work ethic type of crazy, pushing people beyond their expectations type of crazy. That's what I mean by crazy. When I say believing in yourself, when people, a lot of people are gonna tell you can't do it. A lot of people are gonna say you shouldn't be doing it. You know, I'm sitting here right now, 6'8", and you know, the lead rebounder organization is an undrafted fat kid. You know what I'm saying? So believe in yourself by any means necessary. You know, be a little bit crazy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, just keep pushing. Believe in yourself. Be crazy, and surround yourself with great people. You know, I
And
got a
don't
lot of great people.
out, right?
I got a lot of great people around me that's way more smarter than me. And I'm not afraid to sit down and ask a question over and over and over again until I understand it. My business manager, Sylvester King, he understands that about me. Like after a meeting, we'll sit down an hour after and go over everything else again. And I need to understand what happens. I don't want to be in a room with a lot of people talking about a bunch of stuff I don't understand. I hate that feeling. It's the worst feeling in the world.
Well, speaking of entrepreneurship, I mean, you're a man that's just basically continued to reinvent himself, right? So, you know, first European basketball, professional basketball, what you've done on the court and now off the court as you got into franchisee ownership, and then and more recently, and you hit it on it earlier, and just so I don't butcher the name, I just was double checking it. We have the Haslem Housing Venture LLC, and you teamed up with Magellan Housing. And 134 apartments. Talk to us about that project. What does that mean to the community? Why are you doing it? And is there a timeline or anything that you can share with us?
I mean, everything's really off a little bit with what's going on right now with the pandemic. So the timeline's been thrown a little off. But you know, everybody understands what's going on with gentrification and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, me being from Miami, understanding how important it is for to keep local people in certain areas, because, those areas mean a lot to those people. Those people have been raised in those areas for generations at a time. And, sometimes when you talk about gentrification, you're not just talking about moving people, from one, street to the next block. We're talking about moving people an hour away, from where they grew up and where they work. We're also talking about people who are also using public transportation, in a lot of these situations. So our first project is in Wynwood, 134. It's going up, straight up. It's not very wide. It's up, and I'm excited about it, man. That's probably the thing that I've been most excited about in a long time is that project. From everything that I've started from, where just my foundation started with just providing clothes to families in need at a church, to now we're going to giving people jobs, to now providing people with roofs over their heads. So. We're continuing to grow, and I think that's the thing that I'm most proud about right now is that specific project, because of everything that's going on with the times and the gentrification and everything like that.
Yeah. No, yeah, obviously development is tough, and obviously you understand what the local community obviously needs. And everything that you've been doing so far is pretty remarkable with the number of how many employees you employ now, and everything that you're doing obviously with this project. I got some leadership questions, quite a few that continue to come in here, so I might as well hit on at least one of them. What are you doing right now to keep yourself ready and healthy for the possible NBA season return? I'm
up every morning, 10:30. I got my trainers that come over. Everybody's tested and healthy, and we're outside of my backyard getting it in the sun every morning at 11. My kids come out and work out with us after they, take their homeschool break. And, I go from about 11 to about 12:30. And, after that, I shower, grab lunch, and then my boys finish up their homeschool and they get their workout in, and, we relax and chill the rest of the day. So like I said, that's the structure that I have. And, it's my routine and it works. And, we do that Monday through Friday.
And you're transitioning between the professional athlete and the business. Especially in this time, what do you see are the greatest challenges in being able to transition between the two, but not actually really escaping the house? You can't kind of confine to that area. So how are you keeping yourself focused and motivated?
I mean, the toughest part of all of it was just getting accustomed to the modern technology. I was like, geez,
Yeah.
Louise, like what the? I can't
Zoom.
get nothing. My goodness, I couldn't get nothing done for a while. But
Yeah.
once I was able to get everything done, Zoom has been a huge help. With everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
Zoom meetings with my team. A couple times a week. Like I said, I get everything done. So around 3 or 4 o'clock, I'm pretty free, and that's when I start taking my calls and my meetings with my guys, and we going over everything. We talking about everything, making sure we leave no stone unturned. I've been having conversations with a friend of mine, a buddy of mine, who's also a former, who's a former professional football player, and we've been having conversations about, investing in small businesses because we understand how small business owners are being affected right now. So I'm constantly brainstorming, with this time. Like I told you, I'm using this time to get better.
And speaking of getting better, there's this show, The Last Dance. I need to get your hot take on it, man, because I put my Jordans on, and
Man, listen. I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I'm all about it, man. I was watching it the other night. I remember telling my kids, like, remembering, like, actually watching some of these moments happen, as they was going on. It's really dope, and it's a cool thing for me to look back on it, because I was telling my kids, I almost forgot how good Jordan was. Like, geez, I almost forgot, because I haven't seen it in so long. I almost forgot how good he was, man. I mean, I can't wear Jordans right now because I'm sponsored by another company, but
I got those at home too. I got those on one too. So, but I find it just absolutely compelling. Just like and everyone likes the behind the lines and these takes on it, and actually seeing what it's like to be professional, the pressures, and all the things that go on off the court that don't get as, obviously it's not glitz and glam, right? A bit dramatized and obviously, but it's seemingly getting better. Hence as I parlayed into this, and definitely wanted to get your hot take on it. I assume you're watching. So
definitely watching. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm trying to give my kids a history lesson if they'll pay attention long enough, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm loving every minute of it, man. MJ the man. Like, we all grew up idolizing MJ. I don't care where you're from, where you grew up. You was watching MJ and you was watching the Bulls.
Well, like your family and your kids, my oldest is 3, so she's obviously not going to, have any clue who Michael Jordan is until much later in life. So it's awesome to see them do this documentary and kind of like show you a little bit behind the scenes and they go back and forward. And are we expecting something similar for the Heat as we? I witnessed myself here. And watched all the runs to the finals. I was there with you, man. I felt like I was on the court. It might not be a bad idea.
It might not be a bad idea. We had an amazing run, man. We had some fun. We had some times off the court where we bumped heads a little bit, where it got competitive. I'm sure people would love to see some of the behind the scenes competitiveness, some of the bumping heads, and different things like that. So maybe one day, man. One thing about it though, those memories will last forever. We'll never forget the times that we had during those runs.
Oh, it was. I'll be honest with you. I for my wife and I, as a sports fan, not a fanatic, but a sports fan, I felt myself being a fanatic. I mean, you were with every shot. The whole crowd, and just to see a white. It was absolutely amazing, and I'm eternally grateful to experience that with you as a fan watching and all your team, and the friendships that you have with these guys from that season is so obvious.
That's the best part. I
kind of feel like you guys broke the mold a bit on that. With how public you were with those friendships, I don't ever remember seeing as much emphasis and focus on that. Talk to me a little about that. What motivated that?
It was a little different at that time. I don't think everybody was doing it, but for us, it was genuine.
Yeah.
We really felt a lot of negativity once Bron and CB decided to come to Miami. So it was kind of like us against the world mentality. And we bond together, and when you come together, you're stronger. so it was easier for us to come together. But another thing about that is when we talk about the transformation to a businessman, or we talk about pivoting to a businessman, and you look at the guys that I had the opportunity to play with, when you talk about a LeBron James, a Dwayne Wade, a Ray Allen, a Rashard Lewis, and these specific guys, Mike Miller, James Jones. Now you see, the businessman aspect of all the guys that I was surrounded by. I was surrounded by those guys. When they say if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not in the room, you're in a cage. So I was surrounded by.
I like that.
Great. I was surrounded by greatness on not just basketball level, but great minds on business levels. So not only did we talk about basketball, but we talked about business. We motivated each other, and we talked about a lot of different things with each other, man. I got to give these guys a lot of credit for just giving me the confidence and comfortability just to get out of my mode a little bit and be comfortable as far as trusting people and, being able to step into something different a little bit, because those guys were already doing it.
Yeah, I mean, for some of them, you were teammates, friends, and now business partners. I mean, that's some risky business. So business and friends, that's a tough one. Mix in their professional athletics, and that's a heck of a recipe. But I mean, clearly you guys do it well. I mean, in fact, you do it great, and it's fantastic to see. I just got a fun, quick question here. You obviously grew up watching Michael Jordan and that whole era. You got to play with LeBron, Dwayne Wade.
Here we go. I know it's coming.
Is there is one better than the other? Is there a favorite there, or are we going to give the broad answer there?
Do I have to? Obviously, Dwayne's my best friend. He's like a brother to me. He's family. He's family to me. I love Dwayne. Beyond the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Growing up, MJ was the best player I had ever seen play the game of basketball. But at one point, LeBron James was the most dominant player I had ever seen play the game of basketball.
True. Yep.
I never seen MJ play personally. I only watched him on TV, and by the time I got in the league, he had retired. So the most dominant player I had ever seen play the game of basketball was LeBron James. The best player I ever seen, skill level and all that, I would say, Michael Jordan would probably be the best player I ever seen. But the most dominant player to ever play this game, I would say LeBron James. I mean, people always talk about them playing one-on-one, but it's like, I understand Jordan's skill level was great, but it's hard for Jordan to play against 6'8", 260 in a 7-game series.
Right.
I mean, that's got to wear on you. That's a lot of mass and a lot of physicality coming at you.
Yeah. It's funny that you talk. Yeah. No, I get it.
So, I mean, people got to understand that, at some point there's a human nature effect that kicks in too.
Right. Yeah. No, and I'm sitting here enjoying my my rosé, my Lafette, and as in my own athleticism, getting through this interview. So I'm certainly not the best interviewer. You're a pretty good interviewee. I'm super appreciative of you joining us today. We'll ask maybe a couple quick questions here.
Sure.
There's a question regarding the season. If the NBA season is canceled for the remainder of the year, are you going to come back next year? Yeah.
I thought you guys were supposed to be censoring these. I thought you guys were supposed to be censoring these questions.
I'm just kidding. All right, we're moving on.
I got an answer for you. No, you know what? I haven't really thought about it yet, man. It's a lot more important things. It's a lot more important things going on right now, man. I'm still going to remain optimistic that we can have a basketball season.
Yeah.
Once we find out if we're going to have a basketball season or not, then I'll figure out what the next step is, man.
Yeah, no, I'm really, again, super appreciative. We're gonna UD, incredibly humbled by you taking the time to do this with us today. Again, I want to remind our audience to check out your charity, udkids.org. Really simple. Very thankful to Alchemy, the brand agency, as well as Gigi. Go Fins. Obviously, we're all very excited about last night's draft. I want to thank again Lafette for the fantastic wine. For those of the audience drinking it with me, we'll make sure UD gets a bottle next time.
I got to go check my kitchen. I might be in there.
Yeah, I want to, and most importantly, I want to thank all of our participants that submitted questions, that took time out of their Friday to join us. And UD, any closing remarks for our audience? And as we head out of this really difficult time, as business owners, as community leaders, what is your message?
I mean, for me, I thank everybody for tuning in. I think we're all in this pandemic together. I feel like, this is the first time, in my life that I've seen the entire world be affected by something at the same time. So there's really no blueprint, you know what I'm saying? We learning every day about it, man. But what I will say is continue to be safe, man. Continue to be smart. And this too shall pass, man. Whatever you're focused on or whatever your passion is, take this time to get better at it, man. Enjoy your family, man. Enjoy the people around you, man. Don't take this time for granted, just because, it's not the most ideal situation. To all my employees out there, not just my specific employees, but all the employees around the world, man. We're fighting for you guys, in the restaurant industry. Me and Dwayne and I just posted something. There's petitions being, put out. So we're fighting for you guys. We understand it's a tough time right now, man. But, this too shall pass. And I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm continuing to grow. 800 Degrees, Subway, Starbucks, Einstein, low-income housing. My business manager, Sylvester, I appreciate you. Tiffany, I appreciate you. Everybody, man. In this time, we're going to continue to grow. And small business owners, don't hold on. It might be help coming.
And if you haven't had 800 Degrees Pizza, I totally recommend it. It actually is really good. And
the UD wings. Don't forget the UD wings now.
UD
wings go good with your wine. They go good with your wine.
Well, we'll make sure that you have a bottle of this delicious juice over here. And I want to again thank our entire audience. UD, we'll stay in touch. I know we'll be talking soon. GlobalPro here to help and support the small business community as always. We're representing hundreds of local small businesses right now through this pandemic with all the insurance-related issues. If you need to get a hold of us, 855-487-7475, or check us out online at getglobalpro.com. Again, thank you all for joining us. And UD, I wish nothing but the best to you and your family and your team this year.
Go Gators.
Yes. Go Heat, go Fins, and go Knowles. I love you, man. All right, take care, guys. Thank you all again for joining us.
All right, Dan. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.